to the time that they released in these Indigenous Rights Act, which is the surrender of what's ours if we know how to use our oral tradition, and the grandfather clause to seize it back. However, non-treaty tribes still face many challenges. They are often subject to discrimination and exploitation, and their rights are often not as well protected as those of treaty tribes. Here are some specific references to how non-treaty tribes were dealt with in early American law.
Okay, you want to go to the next one?
Yeah, well, the next. Okay, these is the references. The Indian Removal Act of 1830. The act authorized the president to remove Native American tribes from their ancestral lands in the Southeast and relocate them to Oklahoma. Stop, before we go any further. Why did they do that? Why did they start expatriating us from the Southeast and relocating us to Oklahoma?
Shit, maybe
we got to remember,
or whatever. I don't know. Go ahead.
We was fighting the Gulf Wars.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so now they gotta get as many of us out of the war zone as possible. But while we fighting them, they got tribes making agreements with them.
Go ahead.
We ain't them. We not them tribes. That's why they call us gangs. Gangs is the legal jargon for tribes so that they can use their war rants called warrants to come in and seize anybody that they consider as a savage on the land.
Damn, bro. Go ahead. I like the way you put that. Warrant.
That's what it say.
Yeah, that's what
it's an ongoing declaration of war.
That's right. Go ahead.
Okay, then they came out in 1887 with the Dawes Act. This act broke up tribal land holdings and allotted individual plots of land to Native Americans. The goal was to assimilate Native Americans into American society. They did a piss poor job of that because we know who the fuck we is. The Indian Reorganization Act of 1934, this act reversed many of the provisions of the Dawes Act and restored some tribal self-government. The Indian Self-Determination and Education Assistance Act, this act gave Native American tribes more control over their own affairs. But look what it's called, Self-Determination and Education Assistance Act. So what this is doing, in part of self-determination, is to control your own educational output.
That's right.
Right? So let's go to the next one. Okay, so it say the treatment of non-treaty tribes in early American law was often unjust and discriminatory. However, the rights of non-treaty tribes have been strengthened in recent years. The Supreme Court has issued a number of rulings that have protected the rights of non-treaty tribes, and Congress has passed laws that have restored some tribal self-government. Right? So this is for the civilized tribes, to acknowledge that they're giving some acknowledgement to what we call non-treaty tribes. Right? Now, this is Article 77 of the Iroquois Constitution. A grandfathered clause piece of law. We used to know this by memory, like those kids quote the Quran.
Yeah.
We used to know this by memory. We didn't have it wrote down, but we end up getting it written down prior to the arrival of the Constitution.
Okay.
The Constitution was extracted from these documents, the Iroquois Confederation Constitution. Article 77 say when the lords of the Confederacy decide to admit a foreign nation and adoption is made. Now, this is supposed to be from the 5 civilized tribes.
Okay.
But remember, you inherit the chief right, the chief land that you dwell on from historical record.
Okay.
I inherit the war chief status from Chief Pontiac by blood and by right. Right? I'm recognized in law as an outlaw tribe called a gang.
Right. Go ahead.
Right. Right. So now it said when the lords of the Confederacy decide to admit a foreign nation and adoption is made, the lords shall inform the adoption nation that its admission is only temporary. That means that you can't be here forever.
Go ahead.
You come try your little system out, but if it don't work, it's going to come a time when you're going to have to go. It's only temporary. Why? They shall also say to the nation that it must never try to control, to interfere with, or to injure the 5 nations, nor disregard the great peace of any of its rules or customs. This in no way should they cause disturbance or injury. God damn, they've been fucking us up. They sure didn't pay this no attention. Right. Scroll down some.
I got you.
It says, then should the adopted nation. It say, then should the adopted nation disregard these injunctions, their adoption shall be annulled and they shall be expelled. Right? Now, the next part is critical because this is how you go back to your oral tradition when we severing the contracts with the captors. The expulsion shall be in the following manner. The council shall appoint one of their war chiefs to convey the message on annulment, and he shall say, you, O United States of America corporate legal fiction, listen to me while I speak. I am here to inform you again of the will of the 5 Nations Council. It will clearly made known to you at a former time. Now the lords of the 5 nations have decided to expel you and cast you out. We disown you now and annul your adoption. Therefore, you must look for a path in which to go and lead away all your people. Scroll down some more.
I got you.
It was you, not we, who committed wrong and caused this sentence of annulment. So then go your way and depart from the territory of the 5 nations and from the Confederacy. Now, this was only for the 5 nations, but because it was written prior to, another war chief can use this and activate it by just reading it in the public domain, time stamped and dated for the public to see. Because this right here, to win 100 victories in 100 battles is not the supreme of excellence. To subdue the enemy without fighting is the supreme of excellence. I don't have to lift a finger. That's why Larry said we brain banging, not gang banging, or I would have had the streets riled up by now, riding down on the government with AKs ablazing. This is not how this is supposed to go. It's a thinking man's game, and I'm walking y'all through the thought pattern.
Go ahead. You saying a lot, Rod.
Let me breathe for a minute. Play Big Mama. Let Big Mama tell him something.